You can be my wingman anytime.
Bullshit. You can be mine.
Good evening and welcome to ELOSOFUMARTAKES. This is our 358th take, live from the Alec Bradley Lone Star Studio of Azle, Texas. I'm your host, Bear Duplessis, as always, and I'm so proud, so pleased, and so privileged to be with you all tonight. It's going to be a fantastic show. Welcome to the Danger Zone, everybody. We're going to have a lot of fun celebrating 40 years of Top Gun. I can't believe it's been 40 years. Most of us can't believe it's been 40 years. The three of us certainly can't believe it's been 40 years. I've got a great group of people here, two amazing folks that I can't wait to get to introductions. But before we get to formal introductions of our guests of honor tonight, we do have to thank the people that make this show possible. And that, of course, is our sponsors. And tonight's show is brought to you by Drew Estate. Drew Estate is on to the next chapter of their evolution. The Jonathan Drew story has extended into a new era and a new chapter for Drew Estate. J. Sand & Son was built as a generational establishment. J. Sand & Son was inspired by the birth of Jonathan's son and marks a new level of relationship between Drew Estate and its founders. Every iconic brand has its origin story. Says Sand, ours is built upon family, loyalty, purpose. It's a beautiful founder-forward story. As the culmination of 30 years of building Drew Estate matures into the generational ritual of the passing of the torch with the birth of my son, Jonathan Drew Sand II. CEO of Drew Estate, Glenn Wolfson, had this to say on the announcement of the opening of J. Sand & Son. This is a landmark partnership and a venue. I am extraordinarily excited and proud of this new venture, which is the direct result of a mutual loyalty between Drew Estate and Jonathan. It begins a new chapter in our collective commitment to innovating for our consumers. Check out the newest and rockinest venue to the premium cigar industry, all thanks to our good friends at Drew Estate. And welcome, everybody. This is our 358th take. If you are tuning in live on Facebook Live, we broadcast nearly every Sunday night, 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern. Or if you're checking us out on our YouTube channel later on, our video broadcast is ours, courtesy of our friends at Foundation Cigars. Nick Melillo is a well-known cigar maker in the premium cigar industry. He is the founder and owner of Foundation Cigar Company, which produces a range of high-quality, handcrafted cigars. His values include quality, consistency, balance, and flavor. Check out foundationcigars.com today. If you are tuning to us later, wherever you listen to podcasts, however, whether that be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts, our audio broadcast is courtesy of our good friends at Gran Habano Cigars. Gran Habano, honest, compassionate, great cigars. Be sure you download, subscribe, and review today. Check out our good friends at Gran Habano Cigars. And welcome, everybody. As I mentioned before, this is our 358th take, celebrating 40 years of Top Gun. Tonight's guests are sponsored by United Cigars. Smoke one today and start living United. It's Mr. Fred Rewey and first-time guest, Shawn Flores. Gentlemen, how are we doing tonight?
Awesome.
Fantastic.
There we go. I don't know what else. I feel the need for a bear show. I don't know. I feel like I should have rehearsed that opening a little better.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I should have had a great quote from the movie ready. I was like,
right.
Totally
there's a list of a lot. I mean, we're gonna get into quotes like right off the get here. Like this is unbelievable. 40 years, guys. 40 years. Mm-hmm. So, you do want to do a little expanding on the introductions. Of course, Fred, you've well-known guest here on my show. Co-owner and co-publisher of Cigar Press. And just man about town, Renaissance man of the cigar industry. Be the Lime, author, commentator, comedian. I mean, the list is long, but it's distinguished, right? So
it just shows I have a short attention span. That's all that is.
And of course, the first time guest, and I'm so thrilled to welcome a piece of my family for the first time ever on this podcast. We've got my brother Shawn. Who is coming now to join us and talk a little Top Gun. So welcome aboard, Shawn. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Bear. Thank you for having me.
So, well, we got some traditions here, ladies and gentlemen. So let's kind of get to business and everything. I know you guys have already lit up your cigars, but Shawn, as is typically the tradition here, the guest usually picks my cigar for me. Fred's done it a number of times. I thought I'd give you the honor, so I'm going to give you a choice of 4 cigars. It does not matter what you pick. I will smoke any of them. So there's 4 of them here for you.
Okay.
I've got a aging room Cuatro Nicaraguan Sonata in the Robusto size. I have the Aladino 85th Anniversario Reserva from JRE Tobacco. Yes.
Very classy.
In the Robusto size. And then I have the Black Label Trading Company Benediction, an exclusive for Smokers Abbey, actually a retailer.
Oh, hello, boys.
And then an absolute classic here. In a size that I have been I admit I've never had, I've always wanted to smoke. Finally got a hold of one. This is the J.C. Newman Diamond Crown Natural number 6. It's a very unusual size of
Ooh, that one.
This one?
That one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotta do. Yeah, this is a Figurado they call it 6x46 64. I'm sure I'll take their word for it. Fred, I know you're a fan of JC Newman and Diamond Crowns. Have you had this Vitola before, the number 6, the one with the kind of tapered head and
Yeah. I like it. It's good. It's good.
Awesome. What did you light up tonight?
I have a C276, the back when I had Nomad, oddly enough, and someone had reached out and told me that there was a retailer that had some, and I don't think I have it anymore. And so I ordered a box, and sure enough, it showed up. So yeah, I haven't had this one forever.
That's awesome. How's age been to it?
Good. It's a little mellower. It was pretty strong to begin with, but it's still very complex. It held better than I thought, because I think this is probably this has got to be 11 years old now, give or take. So it still holds a lot of strength, more than I think I would have thought it would have. Still relatively complex. So yeah, smoking really good.
Awesome. Sean, what did you light up for tonight?
This is a Cuevas Blue Connecticut shade. Sorry, I kind of took the wrapper off. I'm not going to tell.
Awesome.
One of the really smooth.
That's the natural, man. That's good stuff. Yeah, it's a little bit milder than the original Connecticut that they released. I've really liked it. I figured you would appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm about to light up my cigar. I'm gonna use the Biggie lighter from the ST DuPont monogram that I've been using lately.
Ooh,
this is
very nice,
very classy lighter. Gonna kick the tires and light the fires here and light her up and everything. A quote that gets attributed to Top Gun, but is not actually from Top Gun.
I was about to say that too in the intro, but no, that's not Top Gun. I can't say that, but that's still a great quote.
What quote?
Yeah. Kick the tires and light the fires.
Oh, yeah.
It gets attributed to Top Gun, but it's just it actually is an Independence Day original, man. Harry Connick Jr. So well, gentlemen, let's get some sentiments out of the way here. I'm going to ask Sean here to kick us off with a great story of how this movie has kind of aged over the years a little bit, and aged us simultaneously. But I just kind of wanted to get your general thoughts. Obviously, you both agreed to be on the show to talk the 40th anniversary of Top Gun, but wanted to just get your thoughts on overall how the movie has impressed upon your life, if at all. Other than just doing this podcast. So, Fred, I'll start with you.
I mean, it's a quintessential 80s movie. I mean, it was super popular. It kind of got Tom Cruise's career going. He'd come off Risky Business, but it wasn't necessarily, a massive hit. Showed him a different light. It's a summer movie. God knows it helped the Navy in its recruiting. We'll talk later, I guess, about how it held up and things like that.
Nice. Did you see it in the theater?
I did.
Awesome. What was
and
that
it was
one?
Impressive. It was impressive because they had done a really good job of making you feel like you were close to it's Tony Scott, so it made a very you felt like you were on the jets and all that stuff, and just the noise and things like that. We'll talk a little bit more later, I'm sure, about his style of directing and what he did to the film. But it was an impressive. It was impressive seeing those jets on the big screen like that. I don't recall ever seeing anything like that at the time.
Yeah, I think just like the opening sequence alone, like is it had to have been impressive, like in a theater setting.
Yeah.
I saw it years later, like just because a theater was like replaying it, and I went to go see it because I was like I want to experience it, but I can't imagine what that was like, you know,
The soundtrack
doing it.
was amazing also, and I mean not the music, just as far, but just here, I guess just say the sound effects as far as hearing the jets and the roar and the you felt the rumble of it and things like that. And like I said, I don't recall seeing any jet movie of that many sequences at all at that point, and I'm not sure since, to be honest. I mean, there's certainly movies that have some. There's certainly there are a couple movies that try to cash in, Firefox and some other ones that try to cash in afterwards on the whole jet thing, but nothing had that equivalent at that time in the theaters as far as airplanes.
Absolutely. Try tell us your impression. I mean, this was a movie of our youth. I mean, our childhood and our
Hmm.
youth. Like it
Yeah,
just, I mean,
yeah, and I remember being. I mean, I was really young when it came out. I didn't see it in the theater, but it was one of those that was always on rotation with the VHS tapes. It was either a Star Wars movie or it was Top Gun or it was Top Gun and a Star Wars. I mean, it was just constantly being rewatched, and that whole wow, maybe I can be a fighter pilot someday. That whole lore. Uh, I remember like and rewatching it's funny because you don't get a lot of the scenes when you were younger, like the whole bar scene at the beginning. You know, the target rich environment, all that. I had no idea what they were talking about when I was a kid. I was more enamored with the jets, and the music. And great fun with the music. I mean, not only a banger soundtrack, but yeah, the score by Harold, I think Faltmeyer, just a great score
Mhm.
going with Tony Scott style. It's amazing. So I think that's one of the reasons why it's kind of stayed the test of time.
It
yeah, I
was weird for me because I'm sorry, I was going to say it was
go.
weird for me because at the time I was 20 years old, so I'm playing semi-pro volleyball, beach volleyball, so it had the volleyball in there. My partner's brother was a pilot, a Navy pilot. We got on base and got, back then you could go on base. They could bring guests on base, and we are in Los Angeles, San Diego actually, and that whole vibe that was behind the scenes in Top Gun, as far as the pilots and stuff like that, was very real. Like they
Mm-hmm.
captured that very well because I got to see that behind the scenes and saw how they partied and saw how they acted and things like that. So I mean, the funny story is when I got introduced to them, we showed up at their townhouse, which they had in San Diego, and four pilots on the townhouse. It was only 2 bedroom, but they're always deployed, so there was only usually one or maybe two guys there. And I remember parking my car on the curb and hearing this whooshing noise. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm looking around for a bird or something. I don't see anything. And we get up to the townhouse and they're all laughing and they're all taller than me. I'm 6'2", and they were actually all taller than me. And they're laughing. Oh, we'll show you. And then we go out to the patio. They were shooting a blowgun above my head, darts into the telephone pole that was by my car where I parked. And I said, what if you would have hit me? And they're like, yeah, that would have sucked. And that's how the whole weekend started. So the movie captured these guys. They were just kids with expensive toys to them. But it captured that whole out of cockpit vibe. Definitely.
Yeah, I think, for like Sean and I, we were obviously younger than you, Fred, but like for us,
You
like
don't say obviously. You don't say obviously. That really wasn't, that's not an important part of the
sorry.
conversation.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, we were younger than you. Period. And full stop. You still look younger than both of us, so I don't know why you're
Ah.
really. um, but for us as kids, like that was like, I mean, I remember very vividly, like we did a lot of military play as children, and a lot of it was centered around being fighter pilots and being like a Top Gun and stuff like that. And like Sean said, we were too young to see it in the theater, but it was such a part of the culture, which we're going to get into a little bit deeper here in a little bit. But it was such a part of the culture, and it was so assumed. And then when it, God bless, when it hit cable television, then it just was over, at that point, like because it was just on all the time and we could see it. Um and it just, yeah, to your point, Sean, like it was just like we didn't get half of it. Like, I was telling Frankie, I was like, yeah, I'll let the kids watch it. Like
Mhm.
they're not going to get the innuendos. Like I'll
Yeah.
fast
Right.
forward through the sex scene and then that's it. Like everything else is like it's fun. And Um, and they just think it's super cool, and that's all. And heck, they might run out of the room on during the romance parts. We'll talk about Kelly McGillis here in a little bit, but yeah, it was such a pivotal part. But we have before we dive in and into everything, we have to, Sean, you have to tell the story about when you went back to school, and so you went back to school
Oh
and
yeah,
you were
college.
in college, yeah. So
Yeah, you know, it was funny. I was trying to. I was. It's God. It was so long ago. So it was about. It was either 2008 or 2009. Um,
mhm. Let,
and
let me set some context here. Like Sean put himself through school. Like I'm very proud of my brother. I always talk about I've mentioned this a couple times. Sean did everything on his own. He put himself through school, and so he like went back a couple of times and did everything like the right way. And so the and I'm super proud of you. I love that you did it
well,
that way and everything. But the reason I'm mentioning it too, and other than my immense pride for you, um, is you're older
you're
than
right. It
yeah,
does. It does set the table. And yeah, not to get
yeah.
too far into it, but yeah, I moved back out to where I am now to go back to school. And at this point, you know, I was early 20s, and I was going the school I was at now. It was a bunch of teenagers, freshmen right out of high school. So there was a little bit of a obvious age gap, but I kind of overheard this group of girls in one of my classes. They were kind of talking about Tom Cruise and how he was so overrated. You know, I remember they mentioned he was okay in War of the Worlds. You know, I remember thinking War of the Worlds, and I remember I kind of leaned over. I said, "Excuse me, Top Gun," and they all looked at me like, "What's Top Gun?" They had no idea what I was talking about. And
Yeah,
that not only did that make me realize, oh my, I'm in my I can't be that old. That was crazy. But I
right.
couldn't believe that, you know, they had no idea, especially for Tom Cruise. I mean, I know, Tom Cruise is Tom Cruise now, but even then, I know it was probably one of his lulls of his career. I mean, I think he just made Mission Impossible 3, and that was kind of it.
Yeah,
And it was before all the hysteria is now. But still, it kind of shocked me because, I mean, as polarizing as Tom Cruise is, I mean, he's a good actor, and to have to not even mention Top Gun, which I would think would be on his tombstone, it just really surprised me. So yeah, that really freaked me out.
yeah. Obviously they're probably not, huge cinephiles, the group of
Uh,
girls, but and everything. But
true.
yeah, it was just oh God, I remember you telling me that story and I nearly threw up in my mouth. Um, just thinking about it, I'm like, man, where's the generations going? And then I realized we're old, Sean. That was the
Yeah.
point. And I was just like, we were
Well,
old at that
and
point.
why would they know? I mean, honestly,
That's
Yeah,
true.
early
I mean,
2000s.
you know, I mean, until there's a remake, or in case of Maverick rolling back around, and then they're like, wait a minute, there's another. He did a movie before this. I mean, you know,
Mhm.
why would any of the '80s movies be on their radar? To be honest,
Yeah,
Which
yeah, it's true.
they were probably born after the movie's even made, so that's another
sure. I
big
mean,
whoa.
you could probably name any huge hit. You could say Gremlins. You could
Mhm.
say, you know, First Encounters of the Third Kind. You could probably, I mean, probably even Jaws, despite making, I don't know what, 8 movies or whatever they made. I mean, at some point they
Mhm.
just it's just it those were monumental movies at the time that now you know, the only series that probably survived with significant magnitude is Star Wars.
Yeah,
You know,
I that was actually something you mentioned Star Wars, Sean, and now you're mentioning it too, Fred. I was thinking about this just randomly today. Um, is there a movie other than Star Wars and Top Gun that you will roll through the opening credits on, like every time? Like there's not a question. You do
Mm.
not fast forward through the opening credits. It's those
Nah,
two, right? Those, like, I mean, it's random, but it's those two, right?
yeah, because Top Gun. I mean, the Star Wars, yeah, but Top Gun, yeah, that's I think that's one of the greatest things about Top Gun is it just sucks you in from the beginning with the subtle music and all. Yeah, I'm totally with that. But yeah, I can't think of. Yeah, I think you're right,
yeah,
man.
I mean, it's interesting, right? Because that is probably fair of an era that, when you go back and watch old movies, you're like, oh, I got to watch 3 minutes of opening credits.
Yeah.
So you typically skip them all.
Thank
And then
God
now
for the fast forward button.
yeah,
Yeah.
now the style becomes a little bit more cold open. And then the credits come in a little bit later, and then they kind of catch up. And there's not near as many credits. Like if you go back to the 50s, I mean, it was 5 minutes of everybody's going to be announced up front. The gaffer, everybody. So that style went away. So that was a very good movie that embraced the opening credit and go, look, we're going to do something during this phase that did a good job and really set the vibe of it. I think that movie, there's probably a handful of movies that I thought, in the first 3 minutes, you kind of know what you're in for. Saving Private Ryan, I think, is another one where you're desensitized right out of the gate in the beginning, where you're just kind of sucked in right out of the gate. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the music. I mean,
yeah, Dunkirk did it to me also.
mm-hmm.
In a way that I hadn't experienced in Saving Private Ryan. So it's ironic, both World War II films and stuff. But yeah, and then not again until Top Gun Maverick and stuff, where you're just glued to it. Most of the time it's just like me waiting for the film to kind of get kickstarted, or I'm anxious, like if they're gonna post anything in before, like, hey, read. Like,
right.
I mean,
I would say Raiders of the Lost Ark did that too. Raiders of the Lost Ark had an opening that you're just like, okay, I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Just that slow tone that's building on there. Yeah.
That's fair. Absolutely. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and jump into tonight's major point, which is brought to you by Gran Habano Cigars. From the fertile lands of Honduras, George Rico and his family have put together the very best vintages for you. Yes, you, the cigar smoker. From value-based hits like Corojo No. 5 to the award-winning 20th anniversary to special projects like Zulu Zulu, Gran Habano is about cultivating the best and making pinnacle cigars for the market. Culture, tradition, quality, premium handcrafted Gran Habano cigars. Well, welcome everybody, as we're going to be talking about this all night long. This is going to be some fun stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. We kind of already touched on this already, but man, favorite quote, and the cultural impact of this. Kind of want to jump in here. So like we started up with the way the movie ends, actually. You could be which is probably one of the best lines, but yeah, I kind of wanted to get some of your favorites here and kind of get some ideas.
But you want to go first?
Yeah, Fred. Go ahead.
Okay. Look, it's funny looking back at the lines I like then versus the lines that I appreciate now are probably a little different. I think Stinger, which is the gruff dude on the aircraft carrier with the cigar, has some really good lines. When he's chewing them out about the when he's chewing them out for the flyby and their maneuvers, you don't own that plane. I don't know if this is the first movie because he continues on and says the taxpayers do, and then he says your ego is writing checks your body can't cash, and I don't know if that is I feel like that's an older line than that, but maybe the first one that somebody did in a film. Yeah. But that whole line of you not owning the plane, it's the taxpayers do. I just thought that whole line was really, really good. I mean, the Need for Speed, that's a great line. But honestly, like I said, when you go back and look at it, I like that line. And I think Stinger has actually quite a few lines, even at the very end when the end of the movie when he's talking about going off to flight school and he's like, God help us, if he's going to be a trainer. I just think he's got some neat lines.
Yeah, he comes in fucking hot, like just dropping bombs the whole time. It's insane. He's
stereotypical. He's in stereotype, right? I mean,
yeah. What's funny though? You mentioned his name. His character's name. It's never mentioned once in the film. No one ever calls him by name.
No. Yeah, you're right.
It's one of two very obvious not fake outs, but like direct vague references. We'll get to another here in just a minute, but as we get through quotes and everything. But yeah, it's funny. My dad, as much as we saw it when we were kids, I don't think my dad ever saw this film, or if he did, he didn't see it. He maybe saw it once or twice. Know for a fact that he dropped that line. at least a couple of times on
Oh
me
yeah,
in
yeah.
my teenage years. So like, yeah, it's. I mean, I'm willing to give the credit to him and to this film because I can't think of another time that it was used, but that's yeah, it's
I don't
crazy.
remember it in film. You know, it's one of those
Yeah,
ones that who knows when it came up, but I mean, that's when they used it.
yeah, exactly. Sean, what about you? Some of your faves?
No, man, I hate to jump on, but I totally agree. Stinger, Tolkien, totally, he nails it all the time.
Oh, Sean's freezing.
Yeah, a little bit of freezing here. But I pulled some I went ahead and just like had some little fun with AI and just said, "Hey, give me 50. Give me
Oh
50
wow,
Top Gun quotes."
isn't that the
And
script? I mean, is there over 50 lines in the whole movie?
but it's like it's funny. It's like it gave and every single one of them like if you just said each one of these 50, I'm not going to go through all 50,
Right.
but if you went through every single one, like I could absolutely say, "Yep, Top Gun."
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
totally,
Yeah.
yep, that's from Top Gun. Like it's crazy. Sean, you dropped off for a little bit. What were some of your faves?
No, I'm sorry about no, but Stinger, I love the one where at the it's the same scene, but where he says, you guys were number two, Cougar's number, you guys number two. When he says, you screw up just this much, you'll be flying a cargo plane full of rubber dog shit out of Hong Kong. Just the way he
Right.
nails
Right.
that line.
Right.
But even at the very end, there's that scene. That's I guess you can call the final battle scene where he's like, "Bullshit, 10 minutes. This thing will be over in 2 minutes. You get on it." I just think
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
he
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
nailed his lines
Yeah.
on all of them. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I
That's
mean,
when they had when they couldn't get the other planes to go help them, and
right,
Yeah.
it's going to
right,
be 10 minutes to fix it. Yeah.
right. But yeah, but I mean, Barry, so many one-liners for one. But I would think he wins the award for best.
Yeah. It's hilarious because he's in the movie for a total of 5 minutes. 5 minutes of
Yeah.
screen
If
time,
that, if
if
that.
that. And like everything he's throwing a fucking 100 miles an hour, like everything he's just coming in, just like total, just unbelievable. Um, but yeah, like I think even like it's really funny because like when I pulled that list of 50 quotes, like I even went like it has a couple of like even the we'll get into like I said we'll get into Charlie and Kelly McGillis' character and everything like that. But like take me to bed or lose me forever. Uh, you
Oh,
know,
Meg Ryan's quote.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you're not going to be happy unless you're going Mach 2 with your hair on fire. Like all those like you'd pick those out of a crowd and be like, "Oh yeah, it's from Top Gun." Like okay,
Right.
it's
Right. Right.
crazy. Um, but I mean, I just um yeah, he's God, he's pretty good. I just love I I have a love-hate with relationship with Iceman's quotes because like
Yeah.
the whole like you're dangerous thing, like I'm like really like like looking back and listening to it like 1,000 times over the years, and you're like, God, man, like you could have totally lit his ass on fire with something witty, for a guy who's like is supposedly perfect at everything.
Hmm.
He really is inconsistent at just like delivering zingers or coming in, like even the scene like like right after they lose to like he leaves his wingman for the first time and they're outside the shower and he's just like you're dangerous and foolish, like it's just shit. It's just really
Hmm.
is. But then he comes in with like at the end like the you could be my wingman anytime. He's part of that whole thing, but then the plaque for the alternates is down in the ladies room. Like that, I mean, that's the type of shit like that's like, oh yeah, like you were talking about, Fred, you hung out with guys like this. Like
But
that's an
I don't think that's Iceman's quote. I think that's his real quote. I think that's his co. Well, they're not co-pilots, but I think that's I think
you
the
think that's
plaque
Slider?
line. I think that's Slider's quote.
Oh, okay. Well,
Um,
well, that makes it even more pathetic for
we're gonna have to Google that. I could be wrong. I think that's Slider's quote because I have a different take on Iceman. And I'm gonna wait until we talk about characters. But yeah,
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 yeah, I have a different take on Iceman too, so that's why.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll wait.
But yeah, I mean those there. I mean, there's just I think there's like almost too many. But the interaction between Maverick and Goose, like it just the very subtleties, like it was their chemistry was just absolutely electric,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
they really they really came off as like this brotherly type of relationship that they relied
Hmm.
upon each other. They finished each other's sentences. And like the first time he buzzes the tower, he's like he knows exactly what he's gonna do. And he's like, "Sorry, Goose, but it's time to buzz the tower."
Right. Right.
And then he's like, "Well, I'm fucking along for the ride." And he does it. And he knows they're in deep shit. Yes, he's the voice of reason, but he's like, "Great balls of fire, just fuck it."
Right.
And it just man, it's just a really cool dynamic, the two of them. The bar scene, they save the bar scene because that's also, I mean, that's aged pretty bad just because it's straight from like the 80s, like age of
Right. Right.
excess
Right.
and stuff like that. But their tag teaming of lines and stuff really kind of saves almost every weak point of the film. Their dynamic really kind of saves everything. And it's interesting because like um this is kind of getting into hot takes, but like after Goose's death, like the film gets weaker. Like
Mhm.
him by
Right.
himself is just like is not good. I
Right.
mean, and I think that's obviously part of the plot, and that's very intentional in a lot of ways. But it's also kind of it becomes a tough watch at some points just because of how some of like the lines go and everything like that. But it my question is this: I pulled that list of top 50, and like I said, I'm not going to go through all of them, but like, is this the most quotable movie? Like Sean, you and I make half of
Yeah,
our conversations are movie quotes,
right.
like entirely. Is this the most quotable movie in Hollywood history? And that's a tall order, I understand, but I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there.
I would say yes if you just like if this was the draft, the number one draft picks from that movie. I mean, there's a lot of great one-liners. Not to say there's no other great one-liners from other movies, but I think the most come from this movie.
Yeah.
And let's not go through a deep through all the other movies, but I just I agree.
Not the
Like,
best quotes, they're just the most.
but the volume of quotes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Fred, what do you think?
Um, Ask your question again because I want to make sure I'm asking this right. What you're asking
Is
of
this
quotable?
the is this the most quotable film in Hollywood history? Like in terms
No,
of no. Okay.
no. It probably has the most recognizable quotes. That if you were to rattle off those quotes, that list of 50, and you got 50 from every movie, whenever, then if we saw that movie, they would be recognizable. But they're not quotes in present day that anybody else is still quoting, like
Okay.
Godfather and some other ones and stuff like that. So that's why I'm
Okay.
asking you to re-ask questions. So I'm like, can we immediately identify what movie it's from? Yes, because they are that way. But no one's going around and saying, I feel the need for speed right now, unless they are of that era and saw it. So I think it has a lot of memorable quotes that I would remember it came from that movie, but I don't think it's the most quotable movie in present day.
Okay. That's fair. Yeah, and yeah, I can see that too. And yeah, I mean, like cultural impact, like it doesn't hold a candle to Star Wars, The Godfather, Casablanca. Even we've done that movie too.
Sure.
Like it's like, there's some that, this is 40 years. There's some that have surpassed that in terms of cultural impact and everything.
I mean, the
Well,
only one that probably is still around is the one that I said earlier is that your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. That's probably the only one that or a derivative of that is still used in present day.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's fair. What were you gonna say, Sean?
no, I was going to argue. Well, but then Bird brings up a good point too. So I'll just
It's
say
semantics.
in the window of time, I'll put it that way. I do think, and I saw an interview with Jerry Bruckheimer when he talked about Top Gun. He said how when he first saw the script, he flipped out because he was like, "Wow, this is Star Wars in the sky. This is Star Wars on Earth. Not the whole journey thing, but like battle in the skies. Missiles,
Yeah.
laser. This is real thing." And I think that's important, and because everyone that was watching Star Wars when they were kids, now all of a sudden Top Gun comes out, and those kids are older, So now going back to about the Navy recruitment and everyone, they
Yeah.
kind of grew up. So for that phase of time, Top Gun was huge, and it was a huge blockbuster. Now today, culturally, yeah, we don't know, but it's kind of like whenever all the kids were first reading Harry Potter, then they started reading Twilight, then
Right.
they started reading 50 Shades of Grey. That's like just kind of it kind of progressed with their age group.
Right.
So yeah, culturally now, yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't think
I mean,
unless you're like us who love the movie, yeah, you're saying, yeah, your ego's ready to check your body can't cash. But yeah, if I talk to my nephew who's 20 years old, he'd be like, what the hell are you talking about?
I didn't
to
know
your
you.
point though, if it didn't have a foundation, Maverick wouldn't have made it. Because a
Right.
lot of
Yeah.
people saw Maverick and didn't know about Top Gun, never saw Top Gun, and it held its own. And it's largely just a continuation story of Top Gun that Tom Cruise managed to age himself 40 years to show, be in the second movie. So, but it holds it works also.
Mhm.
Yeah, they warp time a little bit. They only say 30 years in Maverick. When in actuality it's 40 years, right? Really, or close to
I
it,
don't know.
right? At
What
the
is it?
point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, somewhere in there.
At the point. So like they play a lot of fun. They have a lot of fun with the amount of time. Like Brewster is obviously like too young to be Bradley, like the real Bradley and stuff like that. Um,
Right.
but kind of digress a little bit. But yeah, no, the quotes are just unbelievable. So we talked about how it how it really affected recruitment and in the U.S. Navy and everything, and it did. It really had this massive impact. Um, I met people whose dads were in the Navy, and they're like, "What got you into the Navy?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, I watched Top Gun." Like straight up was the
Mm-hmm.
answer and everything. It's crazy. Um, is going into this next couple of points. I always like to read the IMDb description of films because they're really spot on in like a sentence or two, or they're just really bad.
Yeah.
So I always kind of like to do this. So this is from IMDb. Top Gun. The Top Gun Naval Firefighter Weapons School is where the best of the best train to refine their elite flying skills. When the hotshot fighter pilot Maverick is sent to the school, his reckless attitude and cocky demeanor put him at odds with the other pilots, especially the cool and collected Iceman. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
solid.
yeah, solid, solid description. I mean, there's a lot more to the film, obviously, but that's what a a description
It's an
is.
overplaying of Iceman's part because you think on that description it's just him against Iceman and it's not.
Yeah,
But I mean, as far as I've seen worse. I've seen
yeah,
IMDb describe him as worse.
yeah, definitely. Like I said, IMDb is really a lot of fun, like with their descriptions, because sometimes we did the reading of Gladiator, and it was just awful. It was one sentence. It was like one sentence, and it was like just like, yeah, that's yeah, Maximus. Yeah, he becomes a gladiator. Like done. Like that was the sentence. It was ridiculous.
Solid.
Um, but you mentioned this a second ago, Fred. Like this was, kind of launching Tom Cruise into superstardom, and had you know had you heard of Tom Cruise, or were you a fan of Tom Cruise when you first saw this, or was this kind of your first really like, oh, that's the kid from Risky Business? Like, do you remember what that was like when you first saw him on screen for this film?
Do and I remember they did Risky Business, but what I thought shortly after Top Gun, I still believe today, whatever actor had that part was going to be launched. I think it was the perfect hero part that, short of bad acting, which I really don't think he could do in his role because it's not that hard, it's not that demanding, forgetting the stunts, forgetting all the other stuff of flying jets. But I
Right.
really think whoever would have done that part really would have been launched into stardom. Assuming that they could, act in other films going forward, but it solidified that young hero, a little bit of anti-authority, So I think that track was established. If anybody, whoever pulled off that role, I think had a good shot of having that track.
Yeah. What you can go through like the list of 1980s blockbusters and everything, and this certainly is at the top the list or close, if not arguably
Sure.
number one in like top five. But I mean, how closely this was an interesting question that I wanted to pose. Like, how closely do you associate Top Gun with being like an 80s blockbuster or just like an iconic blockbuster of, the latter half of the 20th century? From
That to me.
for both of you, but I'll kick it to you, Fred, for first.
I don't remember it as an 80s blockbuster. Like it just didn't like when you said how many years it was and stuff like that. I mean, I remember seeing it. I remember where I was in my life, but I don't. There's nothing quintessential 80s about it. Like it could have come out in the late 70s. It could have come out early 90s. I mean, there's nothing specifically 80s other than the bar scene that you see the outfits that are very, very clearly 80s. But I mean, when I think of blockbusters, I'd be curious. I'd have to look at the list of blockbusters that, were in the 80s. But I don't know that I would even name that one in the top five. If I was just, trying to come up with 80s movies.
Right.
I mean, you have Superman, you have Raiders of the Lost Ark, you have Star Wars. I mean, you've got a whole lot of other ones that I would probably name first before I would name Top Gun.
I would if you just said name 80s films that were like just huge I would had I not come up with this question, I would skip over Top Gun. That's kind of what
Mhm.
I'm saying. It's like I would say I would probably name Die Hard before I would name Top Gun as an 80s film.
I'm Googling right now 80s blockbuster movies and see what it says and see where we are. I mean, talk amongst yourself. I'm typing with one finger.
Sean, what about you?
Yeah.
Do you think of do you think of this as 80s? I mean, because short of some technology things and everything, I think it's aged pretty well. At least
Oh, yeah.
into
Oh,
the
yeah.
early 2000s.
Yeah. I mean, we were forever kind of talking how, cheers to practical effects because the filming, everything looks so good right now. Like just rewatching it this weekend, everything still looks so good. The way it's edited, the music, everything is so good. Now, that is a good point, though. Like I see it as a hit. Well, it came from the '80s. I grew up that time, so it was a hit. But is it '80s hit in the sense? Does it capture the '80s zeitgeist? Right. I get like aside from the bar scene, probably not because
Yeah.
it is, I guess, more of a classic, not classic, but like the underdog story in a way. Um, and I think that's kind of a cool universal thing about it because it's not really aged by fashion as much as other movies are. So
Yeah, that's
it
what's
was a
really
hit
great about
from
it.
it was a hit from the '80s. If you ask me, hey, what are the best movies from the '80s? That might make it on the list, but does it represent the '80s? I don't know.
I mean, that's
Okay,
such a
there's a lot of good movies in the 80s that I think if we made a list, I'm not even sure it'd be top 20. Terminator, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Die Hard, Flashdance, Goonies, Ghostbusters, Field of Dreams,
Wow.
Rambo, Indiana Jones, Star Wars,
When,
E.T., Beverly Hills Cop, Lethal Weapon. I mean, there's a whole lot of movies I
yeah.
remember in
when,
the 80s before I would have Top Gun.
when
Top
did
Gun
Back
is
to the
listed number one for some reason, but yeah,
when did Back to the Future come out? That was
The 80s, yeah.
I would
yeah,
think of that more of it, and that's about time
yeah.
travel. I would think more about
Yeah,
Is
ironically,
that
right?
yeah, right?
They spend more time in the 50s.
hmm
They spend more time in
Yeah.
the future, quote unquote, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then the old West with Back to the Future 3 all took place in the 1980s. It was crazy. So, um, man, just a yeah, just an interesting thing. What I did notice this today. I mean, God, man, you have to watch it 1,000 times to pick up on little shit like this. But the payphone, shout out to payphones, but the payphone that Wolfman calls Charlie on when Maverick quits
hmm
is not only a payphone, it's a rotary payphone.
Mhm.
So that's
Oh
probably
man!
the only thing that like
Wow,
really
I
that
didn't notice that.
super dates this, right? I mean, shout out to the military, right? They've had the same uniform for like, fucking 70 years, right? So or plus, 100 years at this point. The Navy is, the dress whites, all that stuff is is
hmm
is pretty it's pretty pretty iconic and has stayed stayed the test of time. So stuff ages pretty well when
Mhm.
it's made with the military, but like yeah, the practical effects, all of it just really, really kind of zeroed in on everything. So good stuff there. Um, kind of I really didn't have much. I usually do a little bit more. And to your point, Fred, this doesn't even make there's some bangers in that list and everything like that.
Hmm.
Not to mention all the um like the 80s in terms of like the 80s had some amazing films, but like as far as like recognized by the Academy and Oscars and stuff, like it just really wasn't like for me, it wasn't a very memorable decade in terms of that kind of space. But but Top Gun did win Best Original Song in the 1987 Oscars for Take My Breath Away by Berlin. Just shout out there. Um, but I did want to talk. We mentioned about the soundtrack and everything. Did you know that? Did you guys know that Kenny Loggins was actually not the original pick to record Danger Zone specifically
Yeah,
for the
it
film?
was it was a I don't yeah, it was a hairband, right? And I say that respectfully.
Yeah, Toto.
Oh,
Rain down.
Toto. Oh,
Yeah,
Toto. Wow,
Toto.
I didn't know it was Toto.
Yeah, Africa was known for their
Yeah,
Africa,
yeah.
and then
Oh, yeah. I thought it was like a metal band or hair metal band.
Judas Priest. They were gonna use Judas Priest for another song, and Judas Priest turned it down and said
Wow.
because Top Gun's gonna be a flop. Yeah,
Oh, all
yeah,
right.
yeah. They miscalculated on that. So, um, but yeah, there were multiple nominations for the film across editing, sound effects. Like we already kind of talked on this and everything like that. But I did want to talk about the obvious. Like we've mentioned Tony Scott, not as much, and we've mentioned Bruckheimer a couple times. The Bruckheimer Don Simpson duo.
Hmm.
Um, this. So, quick question. Can you guys name the first Jerry Bruckheimer, Don Simpson produced film?
Do you want to go first, Fred?
No, go for it. I don't think I know.
Was it Splash?
No, but Fred named it. Fred did say it.
Oh,
Fred did say it when he was listing
When
off.
I named off
Yeah,
50 movies,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. It's Lethal Weapon.
Oh, Flashdance.
Oh, okay.
ah.
I wouldn't have guessed
They,
that. I
yeah,
wouldn't
no
have.
shit, right?
Well, I
Flashdance.
know it was a hit, but I didn't know that it was
Yeah,
a.
yeah, that was the first Jerry Bruckheimer, Don Simpson duo,
Wouldn't have got
their
that.
their biggest collaboration.
Hmm.
Um, that made it to the screen. If Flashdance doesn't happen, there's no Top Gun. Now, how about that for a twist of history? That's crazy,
Ooh, ooh.
man. So, do you think we've kind of touched on this a little bit, but do you think that the film was like under-recognized during its time? Like Fred, since I mean you had your pulse a little bit more on like pop culture at the time. Like was it like was it overplay? Like obviously we talked about the impact it's already had and everything like that, but was it like from a film perspective, was it, you know, critically acclaimed at all, or did people think it was, you know, like the snobs, I guess, the
If
Siskel's
you
and
talk, I
Ebnerts
mean,
of the
look, I
day.
think the public loved it. I mean, again, I mean, just by the list I read off in the '80s, I mean, those were all blockbusters. I mean, it was. I mean, I'm not saying it was better to watch movies then than it is now, but there were a lot of good movies then that came out that people would be talking about every summer in the '80s or whatever it was they were coming out. So I think it got its due. But you're going back to an era also and continued on for decades. Action films of that nature that were more somewhat fluff oriented and stuff like that, they weren't getting Academy Award nods at all. And
Yeah.
and by the way, I don't know other than maybe soundtrack. I'm not giving Best Acting Award to anybody in there.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't even know if I'm giving a supporting acting award. I'm certainly not giving it Film of the Year, probably, particularly if I go look and see what films came out that year. I'd be curious what that list is. But so is it a good fun movie to go watch? Absolutely. Did it hold its own then in the public? Absolutely. Is it a film masterpiece? No. I mean, I think Tony Scott went to his complete style, which is over there. It's like everything is the golden air lighting. It's either sunrise
Hmm.
or sunset. Almost every interior shot has like smoke in it for depth. All the bars. Stinger always has a cigar. It's always smoky. The locker room scenes are always steamy with some sort of smoke in the air. He's always going for that vibe. There's always backlighting to create silhouettes in the background. It's super fast cuts, which I imagine was, the whole MTV era, the videos and stuff like that were that of era. It's like a very long video, MTV, music video. So, I mean, that was all commonplace in a lot of stuff there. So I don't think there's anything groundbreaking in that. I think that, somebody should have got some sort of cinematographer award for the Jets, because I think that was captured absolutely amazing for what technology they had. I can't remember where they pulled the cameras from to do the planes. They retrofit them from another movie or something like that. I can't remember what it was now. But I don't think there was anything like, culturally artistic about the movie necessarily to get any kind of Academy Award nods, or even saying, hey, this is like, I remember in film school that, I was done with film school by then, but I don't know that movie comes up in film school. Is there anything like, oh my gosh, look at this amazing shot. So like Spielberg and other people did in other movies. So no, I don't think it was snubbed. I just don't think there was anything that anybody's like, wow, this is the most amazing. Look, there's a jukebox and they're singing, I don't think there was anything in there like that.
Well, actually, a war film did win in 1987 for Best Picture.
In the
Platoon?
Platoon, yeah. And
but that's not a fluff movie either. That's William Dafoe. That's some intense acting going on there. Yeah. I don't even consider Top Gun even in that era a war film. I mean, we're led to believe that it's against the Soviets, but not quite. We imply that because it's MiGs. There's no branding. There's no country on the planes. There's no insignia. They're all wearing dark helmets so they can, be this enemy that we don't really know it is. We fill in the blanks with our heads. So I don't consider it the same.
Yeah, no, that was one of the other references of like, we had mentioned about Stinger being never mentioned by name. But yeah, that was the other thing, is that we assume that it's the Russians, the Red Star, but it's never mentioned.
Oh, MiGs. I mean, we assume because it's MiGs. I mean, who else would it be?
Right, exactly.
And Clint Eastwood steals one in another movie. So hey, I mean, we know where they're from.
Yeah, exactly. And then there's the I know we are gonna touch on Top Gun Maverick here at the very end, but that's a great fast forward to nod, because they never mentioned the enemy in that film either. It's just, again, it's just it's just vague and ambiguous. Which I kind of like that intentionality of it. We're not painting anybody with that broad stroke brush of the enemy or anything like that. And I think that's what helps age the film, to be honest, is that there isn't, it's assumed that it's part of the Cold War just because of the era in which it was made and some of the, the subtle things and everything, but it's not, called out or anything like that. Oliver Stone won Best Director too. He was up against a couple of some awesome guys.
Great movie. Platoon's a great movie.
So, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and break here for our first fun segment of the evening. This is our United Cigar Presidential Trivia segment. Are you ready to live the United lifestyle? Launch your palate voyage with United Cigars. You can celebrate over 250 years of excellence with the Red Anchor, or experience elegance with La Giana Havana. Rekindle the spirit of 1776 and light up the skies with a firecracker. Then celebrate honor, pride, and accomplishment with a gold star. Jet set the globe with Capture Luxury with Atabey, Byron, Alfonso, Bandolero, or now the Nelson cigar from Selected Tobacco. Don't just smoke. Smoke United. United Cigars since 1901. United we smoke. All right, guys. One presidential question. I do have some Top Gun trivia here as well, too. But what presidential question? Which U.S. This is multiple choice. Which U.S. president was a military pilot? And I'll give you guys another hint. Only one of these presidents didn't serve in the military. Only one of them did not serve in the military. So, was it A, Dwight D. Eisenhower, B, Jimmy Carter, C, John F. Kennedy, D, George W. Bush, or E, George Herbert Walker Bush? Which U.S. president was a military pilot?
Go ahead, Sean.
George W.
George W. Right? D, George W?
Yeah, George W. Bush. He was in the Texas Air National Guard, right?
I'm going to have to fact check my own answer. Fred, go ahead. I kind of just gave away something there.
Oh,
I actually thought I thought it was actually you said Eisenhower, right?
Yes, that was
I
A.
thought it was actually I thought it was him.
It's not Eisenhower. Um, it was George Herbert Walker Bush. He was
Ah,
he was in
Oh,
right.
he was 19 years old and flying planes during World War II.
wow.
Yeah,
Wait,
youngest pilot.
but I thought you said who didn't serve.
No, no, no. I said one of these. Sorry if I threw you off, man. My apologies. I said one of these presidents did not serve in the military.
Oh,
Um,
okay. My bad.
but son of a bitch, you were right. I had to fact check my own answer. I didn't even say that. I didn't even know that. Good call, Sean.
Thank you.
George W. Bush.
Gone for the win.
Texas Air National Guard. How about that? Well, there you go. But yes, his father, George Herbert Walker
Mm.
Bush, was the pilot of the group. So yeah, youngest pilot in military history, in U.S.
Wow.
military history, U.S. military history, and flew just an extraordinary amount of successful missions during World War II, and highly decorated, and yeah, unbelievable, and star baseball player too in college as well. All right. So, here we go. Tops, we got some Top Gun trivia as well. Who almost played Maverick instead of Tom Cruise? This is also multiple choice.
Oh, I got
Who
this one. I
who's
don't even need the multiple choice.
who almost played?
My favorite thing is who almost played in movies.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear because when Fred was talking about how anyone could have played Maverick, I thought, man, could you imagine like if a young Denzel Washington played Maverick? That would have been so cool to see.
Oh shit, man. Yeah.
But I'm interested, who is I don't know who was in.
I know without the
Okay.
multiple choice. Well, I don't know which one you're gonna have because there's more than one actor actually.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah. So who
all right,
almost
who do you
played
got?
Maverick? A. Matthew Modine. B.
That's it.
Nicolas Cage. C. John Travolta. D.
Dean,
Tom
really?
Hanks. Or E. All of the above.
Oh, actually, that's an all of the
E.
above.
I'll say.
But I didn't know who was B.
Nicolas Cage.
Okay, that one
Oh
I didn't know. I
wow.
knew the
Uh,
other ones. I did not know Nicolas Cage.
yeah, very young Nicolas Cage. Like the name was thrown out.
Was it
Guy.
with Nicolas Cage or when was it when he was still Nicolas Coppola?
It was when he was Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
Probably, yeah, it was Nicolas
Mm.
Coppola. Yeah, at first. But yeah, no, the one that it was offered to, like they really went after. They really wanted Matthew Modine.
Wow,
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah, that's why Fred jumped on that answer because that's who they really
yeah.
wanted. He
He's the
turned
number one. Yeah,
he turned it down because of the script's pro-military plot line.
right, right. And then he went on to film
Full Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket. Full
Yeah.
Metal Jacket. Yeah.
You know what? I hate to say it, Fred, but I think Matthew Dean proves your point wrong. Not anyone could have played Maverick because I could not see him. Not that he's a bad actor. Not that he's a bad actor, but he even in Full Metal Jacket, he's a very kind of vanilla character.
I mean, but it's a
I don't
different
think it,
role. I don't know.
that's
I
that's
don't
true.
know.
I don't, but I don't see him. Well, I don't know. I'd have to think about that.
It's like say it's hard because we know who did the role now, right?
Well,
Yeah.
So
that's
anybody
very
fails the
true.
list. It's
That's
like,
very true.
Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones. He was the number one pick the whole time. And we're like, oh God, he never could have done it. Harrison Ford did it. But I don't know. I mean, we don't get to go back
That's true.
Yeah,
and look.
it's a different character with Selleck in that case. I think I think the obvious one off that list that I could absolutely see doing it. I don't know what kind of actor Cage was in the like in his early career, but Travolta, he had the swagger. He could have pulled that off. Like I think it's a similar film with John Travolta. Like I think it's a
I
similar
think he could
film.
do Iceman. I don't know if he could do the Tom Cruise part.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny. I think it's a similar movie if it's Travolta. Matthew Modine, like he had swagger like in Shadow Quest when he was the high school wrestler and stuff like that.
Oh, I
He had a
forgot
little
about
bit
that
Yeah,
of
one.
he had a little
I forgot about that one.
that
I think he could do it. I
Sure.
think he could do it.
Okay.
he's a really talented actor. He never made it, man. In a lot of ways, I think maybe he aged out too quickly, or something happened. Like he kind of like came back into like my consciousness when he was part of a brilliant cast put together by Christopher Nolan and Oppenheimer. So he was in, when he was in Oppenheimer, I was like, oh man,
Wasn't he in
Matthew
Stranger
Modine.
Things? Wasn't he the guy
Yeah,
in Stranger Things for
yeah,
a while too?
he had an
But
uptick in Stranger
but to your
Things.
point, I mean, well, and look, I mean, nobody's aging out at the time of Top Gun. I mean, the
Right.
trajectory that needed to continue. Matthew Modine could not do what Tom Cruise is still doing in roles with the Ralph Macchio aging disease,
Yeah.
where he's just not aging fast enough. I mean, the other guys aged out of roles that Tom Cruise continued. But I think for the foreseeable 10 years, I think whoever could have been on that trajectory.
Yeah. I mean,
And
it's worth asking, Fred. I mean, what kind of water are you and Tom Cruise drinking that, you can still look as good
Yeah.
as you do at your age?
We have
man,
Dorian Gray photographs in there that we're not allowed to look
Oh,
at.
that's what it is. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice throwback. Gosh, nice
Thank you.
throwback.
Thank you.
Um,
man, Nicolas Cage, that would have been interesting.
yeah, I don't know what kind of actor he was early on in
I
his
don't know.
career. Like,
I don't
I
know.
think,
I mean, talented.
Well, because didn't he do like a movie years later with Tommy Lee Jones, but it was like the helicopter pilot version. Yeah, sorry, we can go on.
yeah, yeah,
Let's not get off topic.
yes, yeah, yeah.
But there was
I can't remember it, but
well,
yes, I know what
he
you're talking
played that
about.
kind of swaggery, kind of
Yeah,
cocky,
you're right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
but it was
God
helicopters
bless.
or Apaches, I think they were called.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Cruz initially hesitated too, but actually, after Bruckheimer lost out on Modine, like he was like, no, like he sat down with Tom, like really, he showed him like
Mhm.
some of the real like Navy fighter footage that they were going to use, and he was all in at that point.
Mhm.
Like, there's this like, gosh, man, Tom Cruise is such an extreme junkie. Like I'm thoroughly convinced that we're gonna wake up one morning because this is the only way Tom Cruise is gonna die. We're gonna wake up one morning and Tom Cruise is gonna be dead from trying to perform a stunt in some movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like and I'm not gonna be sad about it. Like I don't want anyone to die, of course, but like that's the way like that guy like him goes out. Like
Mhm.
have you guys seen the video that floats around social media? It's Matt Damon talking about his interaction with Tom Cruise and
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's like, so I wanted to do this kind of stunt, blah 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 blah. He's like, and Matt's like, so what happened? He's like, well, my safety guy said couldn't said I couldn't do it. He's like, so what'd you do? He's like, so I got another safety guy.
Yeah.
And he went through like 3 or 4 safety guys in the story to
Yeah.
perform a stunt. It's just nuts. Like he keeps pushing the envelope and everything. It's incredible. I mean, the guy's almost 70. I mean, he's right there.
No.
He was born in
No.
he
Is
was born in
no.
50
No. No.
59.
He's got to be. He was 23 when he shot Top Gun. So
Oh, so he was born in
he's
62. He
62.
was born in 62.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. He's 63. Okay. I could have sworn he was born in 59. Something about I don't know. Okay. Never mind. But still, I mean 63 and he looks and does what he does.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just incredible. Um all right. Wanted to skip ahead. I'm gonna skip the next trivia question. I don't think it's that interesting. It's just about the speeds of the jets and everything. The end of the day,
500 miles an hour.
yeah, they were actually using real speeds for the jets, 500 miles an hour, right on. You were ready for that, Fred. Sorry about that. I just stole your glory.
That one's it's because they say 500 knots all the time in the movie or something like that.
Yeah. Um, so what are a couple cool throw-ins about the real pilots that were used. So the scene where Tom Cruise is giving the bird to the MiG fighter pilot that was performed in for real. And the guy who was actually doing it and actually did it, he went on to become an astronaut and
Oh,
Wow.
wow. That's cool.
flew a couple space shuttle missions. Yeah.
I did not know that. That is cool.
Yeah. And another cool throw in too, the older guy that Charlie is having dinner with or having drinks with at the bar scene when she leaves
Yeah.
Maverick, that is that is the real life Viper. His name is
Hmm.
Pete. His name is
Oh,
Pete Pettigrew. He was the lead instructor at Top Gun during the filming of the film, and Bruckheimer and Simpson brought him on to be the technical consultant. They got the head instructor of the actual Top Gun to be the technical consultant on the film. Like, holy shit.
We
Like,
should have known that because when you have a cameo out of position that you're like that, it's an obvious like the actor bumps into somebody, oh sorry, and that guy walks off. I mean, like that's an obvious cameo that I never caught. That makes sense.
yeah.
I mean, I would have had to look up who he was because I wouldn't have known. But I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm surprised Don Simpson didn't put himself in this film, like as another fighter pilot, like in the like in the group of Top Gun people. Like, I'm surprised he didn't throw himself in. Considering he threw himself in as a driver for Days of Thunder. Like,
Yeah.
Man, what a tragic life that guy had. And it's interesting that the dynamic duo of Bruckheimer and Don Simpson. If you look at their life, Bruckheimer's over 80 now, and like the list of the films that he's been involved with, like I mean, there's some of we can argue if
Huge.
they're good or not, but I mean, it's just like unbelievable blockbusters after unbelievable blockbusters. I mean, he's touched everything of
Yeah.
with any kind of magnitude at all in the action, certainly in the action genre, and some that are like you're like really, you know, um, and then Don Simpson, unfortunately, I think it's just like a product of the 80s of the era of excess and everything, cocaine, and just man, it's such a sad story. It really is, because I mean, I can't imagine if those two had been together for this long. Like, what if Bruckheimer did this on his own? Like, what the two of them could have done together would have been crazy. Um, here's a fun question. Just I know I'm putting you guys on the spot. Like, what is your favorite Bruckheimer film?
I'd have to see a list of Bruckheimer films.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay.
Top Gun.
Top Gun.
I guarantee it's not Top Gun for me. I'm gonna look up right now.
I've got some. I can
Jerry
pull.
Bruckheimer or Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson.
I've got both. I can do both. But here I'll pull up Bruckheimer's filmography. It's pretty fucking impressive, dude. It's so scary. It's so scary.
Didn't Bruckheimer do the whole Transformer franchise?
He did Transformers. He did. There's a picture of him where he's looking very young in 2013, which is hilarious because that was only 10 years ago. So he's in his early 70s, and he's with Johnny Depp and Tom Cruise. Like he did the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise too. He started off in the early 80s. He did American Gigolo, obviously Flashdance we mentioned, Beverly Hills Cop, Top Gun, Days of Thunder, the Beverly Hills Cop series, Top Gun, as we talked about, Crimson Tide, Dangerous Minds, The Rock, Con Air, Armageddon, Enemy of the State, Coyote Ugly, Gone in 60 Seconds, Remember the Titans, Pearl Harbor, Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, King Arthur, National Treasure franchise, Glory Road, G-Force, Confessions of a Shopaholic. There's the one you're like, what? Prince of Persia. That's all the ones that he did for Disney. Then he worked for Sony. He did Black Hawk Down, Bad Boys franchise, all of them. He recently did the most recent film he did was last year was F1. The Brad Pitt starring film, another Joseph Kosinski who directed Top Gun Maverick. Let's see.
So my favorite film of his, which is also a guilty pleasure one, which is one that anytime it's on, regardless of where it is in the film, I'm going to watch it, is Armageddon. It's just an enjoyable, should have failed. There'd already been 3 horrible meteor movies, Deep Impact and everything else. And just the cast of that movie, I love that one. So that'd probably be my favorite film of his that I would watch.
Man, like I'm not knocking you at all, Fred. But that throws me for a loop. I never would have if you'd given me 50 guesses, said, "Hey, what's my hell?" If you'd give me 50 guesses and you'd given me like a 10-year span, 5 years of either side of Armageddon, I wouldn't have gotten to Armageddon.
I love that movie. I love all the.
You're muted yourself, buddy. Sorry about that.
I love the cast in that. I love all the lines. I don't know. It's a guilty pleasure movie. Not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I
I'm a
always
sucker.
loved Armageddon, but I always liked Armageddon more of a Michael Bay movie than the Jerry Bruckheimer movie.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah,
Bay's like
but
Bay's like
Armageddon,
Don
yeah,
Simpson
that
2.0.
I'm with you on Armageddon. That's one of those. Yeah, you'll stop what you're doing if it's on TV.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's funny now as a parent too. I fucking cry every time.
That's a
Fucking
tough
cry, dude.
scene.
It's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
stupid.
yeah, yeah.
It's so goddamn stupid because it's a fucking
Yeah.
cheesy
Oh, it
late
is.
90s
It
action.
is.
Oh God, it's so bad, and it just it fucking wrecks me, man. I'm just yeah.
Look, I mean, speaking of which, I mean, who does not watch Top Gun every time I'm hoping Goose makes it somehow? I know he
Yeah,
dies. I'm like, please don't. I mean, and I mean, I get it. It wasn't even the script originally. Goose wasn't even supposed to die. They like changed the script so he died, and it could help Tom Cruise's story arc through all that and redemption and all that stuff. Which, by the way, as an aside, that whole the only thing in the timeline that always bugged me was that from Goose's death to graduation is a 2 week period. They literally say they're 2 weeks away from being done,
Hmm.
and Goose dies. Redemption goes up, chokes, then walks away, and all that happens before graduation, within the 2 week period.
yeah,
I always hated that part of the timeline.
yeah. There's a couple of nits that are just pretty nasty. That's one of them for sure. The time frame is really weird. Um, God, but yeah, no, the Goose, yeah, Goose's death. It's. I'll tell you. I'll take it a step further, Fred. It always surprises me. It's not that you hope that Goose makes it. It always catches me off guard. Like if it's been like a while since I've seen it, and I put it on and I'm watching, I'm like, oh shit, he dies. Damn it. Oh my God. Like it
Yeah,
it, it
yeah.
just it's like it kind of like rips your heart out every single time that it happens. And
Hmm.
that goes just to back to their chemistry. I mean, it's just unbelievable what they put together. It's just crazy. So
I think it's also made up to your point earlier about the whole brother thing. It's made up of really little moments. And to me, the one that always got me, which is kind of gets glossed over, I think, a little bit, is when Maverick had screwed up and they're actually in the locker room, and Maverick says, it will never happen again. And Goose is like, I know. And there's that brother thing, like you said on Buzzing the Tower, that he's going to support him. He knows he's reckless. He knows he's kind of an F up on a lot of things, but he says, I know you're not going to do it again. He knows he's going to do it again, but it's just that one scene is he's just like, I'm along for the ride no matter what,
yeah,
and he's going to support him, but he just kind of throws away that I know you're not going to do it again type thing, but he knows he is, and that's that whole brother thing that they have, which really makes it and saves a lot of the first half of that movie because it's that classic setup, right? It's like three movies. It's the movies before Top Gun. There's the movie during Top Gun, and there's the movie when all of a sudden they're all done with graduation and they got to go out and have another fight, which is the same model like Stripes uses, which is the model before the boot camp, and then there's something after, and you're like, oh yeah, this film keeps going. I forgot about that,
yeah.
But their chemistry together, I think, really really makes that first third of the movie by far.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect time to mention this because we talked about and this is another reason that I love it. I love having Sean on for this movie specifically. It's just the ride or die, which is interesting because that's the Bad Boys for Life becomes the thing of Bruckheimer right later on. But like, and I feel like if they had written more for Merlin, we would have seen a third example of this. But like, isn't it unbelievably touching how loyal both Slider and Goose are to their people? Like they
Hmm. Hmm.
it, they
Yeah.
are they're it's always one step. It's like it's not only like they literally have their back, like one step to the right and one step back of their guy, and it's always backing them up. Like even Goose, who's like affable and likable, but like everyone likes him. Like
Hmm.
Iceman, Slider, like they all like him. Like everybody likes him. Like he pushes back on Slider when he's like, yeah, the hard deck doesn't count. He's like, no, we won. Yeah, we won. You know, like we got him too
Mhm.
and stuff. And it's I think it's a really really cool part of the script, and those two actors pull it off incredibly really well. And I think Tim
Mhm.
Robbins would have done it too. And I think he has a moment up there when he's up there with Cougar where he's like, "Hey man, like he really got screwed up. Like not like he's a fuck up. Like we got to get out of here. Like he doesn't panic. He's just, hey, my guy's in trouble. Like
Right, right, right.
he's got his back and stuff. So I wonder how realistic. I mean, it's got to be how realistic the Rios are to their pilots in real life.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on that, Sean?
No, I mean, I think that's kind of the nice thing about it is there's not a whole lot of overacting in that regard. And what I mean is like, yeah, Merlin served his key point. You're right, because you're talking about he could, oh my God, get me out of here! I got to be ejected. Something. There's like, hey man, something really screwed him up. I don't think he's gonna be able to make it back. That kind of low key
Mhm.
tone. And I think that kind of adds. I like you said. I assume to the realism, because if you're whether you're flying or the co-pilot, whatever, you're the top of your class somewhere. And part of things you realize is you can't freak out, you can't panic. You have to kind of like
Mhm.
you said, ride or die, as you would say. Um, and I wonder, like, yeah, if they did that same scene today, would it be like, oh, freaking out and everyone's freaking out? Maybe, but I guess at the time that was just a perfect
Yeah,
fit.
awesome. All right. Well, one of the scenes I was looking forward to the most here. We're gonna talk about some favorite characters. So we've named off quite a few. A couple that we haven't talked about. We've mentioned a couple of times. Charlie. We've mentioned Viper, played by Tom Skerritt. Uh, and there's Jester, played by Michael Ironside, and um, Clarence Gilliard playing Sundown. Whip Hubley, Hollywood, Wolfman. There's a pretty nice list. So any thoughts on favorite characters? Sean, I'll let you go first here. Been kicking
I,
it over to
I
Fred.
really thought we could have. Well, I don't know if this answers the question. But I really thought we could have some more Wolfman in Hollywood. Two great
Yeah,
call signs. And I noticed you're watching the movie. If you watch the movie, I swear on their helmets, the decals is like a butt with a star on it. If you watch it, I swear I saw that. Oh no way! But
yeah,
two
yeah.
two two great call signs, and yeah, I know they have that. That's but they're getting close. I'm getting hard on, but we really don't see too much of those characters. Um, but I mean, aside from that, I mean, yeah, as we kind of talked about it, I mean, Goose is kind of the emotional anchor, and
Hmm.
he's the most lovable character out of everyone. Like he's the straightforward. We all know a Goose in our life,
Hmm.
and that was a good point. When he does die, that does it does totally shift the movie, but I think it's for that purpose. Maybe that's why they decided. I had no idea that Goose was supposed to make it to the end. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
But
I'd
by
heard that a
but by
couple of
killing
times.
him, that does totally move it. All right, now it's all about Maverick. It's all about his
Mhm.
redemption. So yeah, I'm gonna go with. I guess I'll go with Goose as the favorite character.
Yeah. What about you, Fred? Favorite character?
Favorite character. I mean, I like Goose. I think he's good. I really like Tom Skerritt as Viper.
Oh, thank
I
you.
really think he's just incredibly grounded. I like him as an actor the same way I like Sam Shepard as an actor. They don't overact. They're very even keel on a lot of stuff. They have that element of wisdom. I mean, when he's up and he just goes for, and all of a sudden he's in the plane and they're like, holy shit, he's up here and he's having fun. I think his character is just the most grounded of all of them, and I think you need that. But in a situation where you've got guys that are over the top and stuff like that, we'll talk about
Yeah.
Iceman, I'm sure. I just really enjoy his character. Anytime he's in the scene, you're like, oh, this is gonna be good, but it's gonna be low key good. It's not gonna be yelling and screaming. It's gonna be that I'm gonna guide you, mentor thing. The guy that's seen some shit,
Yeah.
and when he finally tells Tom Cruise about his dad,
Mhm.
And I can get fired for, I can get fired for this, but I really like his character because it's refreshingly grounded and normal.
Yeah, the retelling of it, there were bogeys everywhere like fireflies, like just that rehashing of it. He's this interesting equilibrium. Like he kind of resets the movie. He resets the tone after like
Hmm.
these really intense scenes and everything, and
Right.
he just kind
Yeah.
of he provides this really kind of levity. I think he, but Michael Ironside, I think, is one of the most underrated actors, of that
Mhm.
era. Like he is all about subtlety. Like he is all about subtlety, and
Great,
it
great voice.
yeah, great voice. It's interesting because he like hardly ever plays a good guy, you know.
Right.
And when it's him in this, and I think it's hilarious that his name is Jester because you know, and that was
Right.
probably given to him as an ironic call sign, but yeah, I love Tom Skerritt. I I will throw this out. I don't there has never been a role that Tom Skerritt has played where he's not believable in what he's doing.
I agree. It's like I said, I think him and Sam Shepard both are just
Yeah.
absolutely phenomenally grounded actors.
Like I think of like when I think of Tom Skerritt, I think of three films right off the top of my head. I think of this. I think of the dad minister in A River Runs Through It, Fly Fisherman,
Mhm.
and then I
That's
think
right.
of the dad in Steel Magnolias, whereas this
Hmm.
goofball Southern boy from Louisiana, and it like talk about three. I mean, you could say that the minister and this are on the same like wavelength in terms of like just seriousness, but like
Hmm.
I mean, two very different walks of life, and there he's just believable in everything he does. He's incredible.
Hmm. Hmm.
I, I do think how it's great in Tom, but there's scenes where he can yell without yelling. He
Yeah.
can
Mm.
he
Yeah.
like I love the scene after the Goose and Maverick are waiting outside. The guy they did the flyby on is like yelling, two jockeys, and he just walks
Yeah,
up. Well, I guess that takes care of the flyby. Like
yeah,
that was just
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
that'll cover the climb. That'll cover the
Okay,
flight.
that'll cover that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
What I love that moment too, because like what a clutch like fucking ass chewing that guy's giving,
Hmm.
and not one swear word is thrown out.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I want some butts, like it's just
Right. Right. Right.
damn, that's twice. Like I mean, oh God, that's incredible scene, incredible
It is
scene.
crazy what you bring it up. The movie is only rated PG.
Yeah,
And I
Yeah.
remember, and I remember this is before there was PG-13. But when you think about it, there's no blood, there's no excessive nudity or
yeah,
craziness. You're right. It
Right.
is as far as like the bad stuff, it is a pretty tame, harsh
innuendo in
language,
one sex
harsh
scene.
language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
and like honestly, like I I this we're gonna get into this. Honestly, just throw out the sex scene. Like it's so
Mhm.
unnecessary. It does not go with the film at all. If like you could say, what part of this film is not like the rest of the film? It's that scene. Like it's and
Yeah.
if there and honestly, like the weak link of the film is the Charlie storyline.
Oh
Like
God. The one I don't even think it's cast well. I don't think Kelly McGillis was that good. Um, forget the fact that she's taller than Tom Cruise. They handled that by putting Tom Cruise on a box on the next to each other. She's 5 years older, but she comes off, older than 5 years older in real life than him. Um, she is my least favorite part of the entire film, and I don't. I
mm,
and I really feel that a different actress in that role probably could have put, but I don't know if it's her fault or if it's the writing in that particular one. But it's the least believable part of that entire storyline is their relationship.
hmm
Mm.
Um, she's been around for a while. She's seen a million pilots. He throws nothing on the table other than batting his eyes that she's going to fall for this fighter pilot, but she didn't fall through the 100 other ones she sees every 8 weeks come through the school or whatever it was.
Yeah.
There was just not a moment where I believed their relationship at all.
Well, they added that scene of them in the elevator post production.
Mhm.
That's why
Oh yeah.
her hair is up in the hat because she went back to her normal hair color, her natural hair
Oh,
color.
that's
She's a
I didn't know
brunette.
that. I didn't
Yeah,
know that.
she's a brunette. So if you look closely, like she's got the brown hair and it's tied up, and that was done post production You can tell she's actually she's lost a little weight because it was and that was when she was doing Witness, which I think is one of her best films,
Oh yeah, she's great in that.
if not be the best film.
That's her best film.
Like
Yeah,
yeah, and um yeah, it's so bad. It's just yeah, to all those points. They also dress her terribly. Like in an age of sexism and like, you know, how we sexualize women and stuff like that. I'm not going to get go down that road of it, how bad it is, but you know, to you know, but if they wanted to make it believable in the 80s, for God's sake, you know, when everything was on the table and everything as far as like what you could dress women in, and they put her in these unbelievably just very conservative outfits that don't fit her well, and like obnoxious eyeglasses and, you know, like hosiery that was probably her grandmother's. Like it's
yeah.
just um I mean, they really did a disservice because she is a good actress, and yeah, I think it was miscast, and they didn't do her any favors either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her lines are awful, and it's not that she's bad like at delivering them or anything like that, but like they're just it's just an awful part of the story.
No,
So
it's her story arc's weird, and honestly, the first half of her relationship, she's only around him because she wants more information about the make. She
yeah,
blatantly says that in several scenes, you know, and stuff, and he's saying, "Oh, you know, let's forget about that," and you know, whatever. You find out Washington. It's the least believable part of the whole movie. Not to delve into Maverick. That relationship, what they brought in there, was way more believable than the Kelly
oh,
McGillis relationship.
1000%,
You
yeah.
know, yeah.
Yeah, 1000% on that one. No, the I mean, I knew what they're trying to do, like with the scene with like he goes to her place for dinner. He becomes very vulnerable and he talks about his parents listening to the music and stuff like that. And he opens up, but you know nothing about her. Like we know nothing.
Yeah,
She works for the Pentagon.
yeah,
That's it. And she drives a cool car. I'll give her that. She drives a pretty cool
yeah.
car.
She got a Porsche Speedster.
Yeah, that's that's it.
Couldn't you argue though that's the point? If she works for the Pentagon, she's not going to reveal a whole lot.
It's true.
And as someone who has to be older, because she has more experience,
Yeah,
maybe someone who's a little more, we won't say less attractive than Tom Cruise, but you already got the young stud fly by. You need someone who's being more grounding,
yeah,
maybe more of an, maybe I don't want to say intimidating, but something he's got to work for. Now, as
yeah,
far as the line, now as far as her lines and stuff, yeah, you can argue. But like just case in point, let's say you just swapped her with Meg Ryan. It's a totally different movie. If you get like someone who's like
yeah,
let's or what so like was 86 like a young Michelle Pfeiffer or a young, whoever was hot at the time. It's a different movie if it's the new hottie on the block, whoever
yeah.
was at the time.
Mm-hmm,
No,
mm-hmm.
that's absolutely
But
fair.
Kelly McGinnis, who I mean, she is attractive. I'm not saying that, but she's older, she's taller. You know, she's even with her dress, she looks bulkier. Like maybe that's on purpose versus Meg Ryan's character in the movie, who's like in a sundress the whole time,
Yeah, that'd
who's
be
all
interesting.
happy, and you
Yeah,
know her and Goose, you know they're just trading barbs, and even in that scene, you can see how uncomfortable Kelly McGillis's character is.
yeah,
I think they could have helped. They could have done it by hiring. And I don't look. It didn't have to be an attractive person. Obviously, in the '80s, that's what they're going for. You needed another disconnect, and I actually think they should have looked at uh, English actresses with English, UK English accents and stuff like that. That was on loan to the Navy. That was an expert
Mm-hmm.
on this and stuff like that. I think they could have helped that story arc a little bit by just making her more foreign for some reason and
Mm-hmm.
on loan
it's
there. And so
interesting.
I think that, yeah, I think they could have. I think that would have helped it.
I
Yeah,
like that.
but
Yeah,
but then it kind of takes it away. But now you're focusing more on her and where she's from versus, well, no, we got to get Maverick redemption story. We got to get Maverick back in the air.
Well,
yeah,
I'm not. You don't have to have a giant backstory on her, but just
yeah,
she's again, she had seen hundreds of pilots come through or whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
get somebody that hadn't seen hundreds of pilots and seen all their lines and seen all their jokes, and then fall for it in literally the first 30 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
for sure. Yeah, I going back to characters though, I I made Sean tell the embarrassing story about him in college, but there was a time in our youth that I very unsuccessfully tried to go by the nickname of Hollywood. and it didn't stick, unfortunately. So,
No,
um,
fortunately,
yeah.
fortunately.
So, awesome. Well, let's keep the ball rolling here.
So I don't know. Hollywood Bear does have a good, pretty good.
That's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That could be the name of a cigar. Hollywood Bear.
So can we talk about Iceman?
Yes, let's talk. Yes, let's talk about Iceman.
So I don't think he's the villain. I don't think he's a bad guy. I think he's just by the book. If
Yeah,
you actually just look at all of his lines, he's a robot, right? He's trained to do. They say that he doesn't make mistakes, that he's, whatever. I think everything throughout his position when he talks to Tom Cruise in locker room that he's got to learn to be a team player. That's from a position of authority and mentorship, saying, "Look, you can't go rogue." He says that he's a great pilot. He says that he's outstanding, but he's got to learn to be a teammate. When you can tell when he apologizes, not apologizes, but when he tells Maverick about, "Hey, I'm sorry about Goose's dying." Val Kilmer does an excellent job, not because he has to say the words to Maverick as a villain. He has to say him as a guy that, I'm in the name. This isn't about emotion. He's not supposed to be emotional. He's supposed to just make decisions. And he struggles visually trying to say, "Look, I'm sorry about Goose dying." And then he exits. He's done.
Yeah.
So I don't, he just represents somebody that is completely by the book, but I don't think he's this villain adversarial thing that really came out of what everybody thought. Oh, Iceman's he's the evil guy that he's up against. He's really not. He's just a by the book pilot that's very, very good. That, by the way, I'm glad Iceman ends up winning Top Gun. I'm glad it's like Rocky not winning the first fight in Rocky.
Yeah.
I liked that the redemption or the story arc for Tom Cruise to not have him winning Top Gun last minute. I thought that was very humbling. I thought it was very good the way they did the final scene, that Maverick actually had to support him, at a certain point. And so I don't think Iceman's the bad guy. And I like the way they did his story arc, and I like the way they came together. And I like what Val Kilmer did in his work as far as when they're on set. He didn't interact with him because he wanted to maintain and didn't want to be friends with Tom Cruise while they were shooting everything. I just think he did a really, really good job in that role.
I think so too. Go
I
ahead,
agree.
Sean,
Because I'm pretty much the same with you, Fred. I mean, he's, and I don't mean to be disrespectful to this, but a lot of these characters are pretty cookie cutter. And what's different with Iceman is he's the straight man smothered in swagger. Just like he's kind of like Gary Bartier from Remember the Times. Like I said, he's the straight man. Hey, you got to be a team player. No one likes you because you're bad. But it's covered in that kind of Val Kilmer, like that swag he had, But you're right. He is the straight man of the movie to Tom Cruise's, wild card.
And he doesn't have a ton of lines. He doesn't have a ton of lines, which is also good.
Yeah. I did Google it, Fred. He did say the alternates line, by the way. I did.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. But again, yeah, and I did remember it right because like I went back and watched it on silent, which is subtitles and stuff. Like, even his demeanor when he's delivering it is he's still seated, and he's he delivers it very cold, like very very coldly with that slight little cocky grin.
Right.
That he has in the bar, and then that's it. Like that's the only kind of, and then he he does the little overbite in the locker room when they're jabbing each other, and he's like,
yeah, that one's weird.
Yeah,
that part was the only period that I'm like, what's with the what?
Yeah, but yeah, there's very few lines, very interaction, like, and I think that's how it should have been. Like Mavericks is playing against him, but Iceman's not playing against Maverick. Like he's
right.
I'm with you because I think I think looking back, I would have been really pissed if Iceman hadn't won. Like it's a different film. It's not as good. If it's the Cinderella ending, of Maverick somehow getting it in spite of losing Goose and shit like that and everything. But I know we're going to talk about it a little bit. Daniel Lance mentioned this about Goose. He's like, he was a singer and a great volleyball player. What's not to like? About Goose. But Goose in that volleyball scene, like Maverick, Goose, Slider, they're like obnoxious, over the top, like jock mentality and stuff like that. And Iceman's still just calm, other than the spinning of the volleyball on his finger, right? That's the only thing he does really, other than play.
Right.
So he does it. His approach is the same in everything that he does. Um,
That was
here's a,
another scene added. The volleyball scene was another scene that was added later. I didn't know about the elevator scene, but volleyball scene was added to show that they had camaraderie and off base, if you will. And I used to play volleyball with the guy that was Tom Cruise's double for that volleyball scene, which by the way he was like an inch taller than me.
yeah,
So all the distance shots are this guy as Tom Cruise, and then when it shows Tom Cruise, he was jumping off a chair to spike the ball for the close-ups.
I was gonna say you need a rocket up his ass to fucking spike the ball. 5 foot
Yeah,
five.
now they had a chair or platform out there that he would jump off and spike the ball.
Bless. Yeah, that's that. Other than Charlie's performance, that might be the most unbelievable part of the film is Tom
You know
Cruise.
what surprised me is when I rewatched that movie, how short the volleyball scene was. Like everybody remembers the volleyball scene, but it's a really short scene. Like I don't even think it's longer than 2 minutes. I mean,
Yeah, yeah, it's about 90 seconds. It gets crazy.
yeah.
Yeah. Funny story about Rick Rossovich, who plays Slider. Um, you know, I mean, there's not a line in this film that he's not being a dick, right?
Hmm.
Like he's a huge cock meat sandwich. Like everything he spews is just like shit talking and everything, right? And in reality, like everything that I've read about him, it's just ironic. Everyone loves him. He's one of the most likable people in Hollywood. He's a family man, goes to church every Sunday. Like it's it's just funny like how actors can act, right? And they play just completely different people than who they are in real life. And I thought that was funny when I read about Rick Rossovich. Like um Val Kilmer said that he was one of his favorite people to ever act with, just as a likable person, just as a
Hmm.
person.
I mean, there were a lot of good actors in that film that didn't have big roles. I mean, Tim Robbins you brought up earlier.
Yeah.
Several people in the chat were talking how Val Kilmer, a solid actor. I mean, real genius. In The Doors, he was amazing in The Doors. I mean,
Yeah.
that was a role that wasn't necessarily a breakout role for him because he was actually doing okay. Um, so yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody Charlie made a comment. Deborah Winger was way more believable in Officer and a Gentleman, same eras and stuff like that. And I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then Kelly McGillis. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a totally different type of role, though.
Yeah.
It
That's
is.
true.
Still could have been better. Kelly McGillis, I don't know if it's her fault. She was great in Witness, so I can't blame her as an actress. I'm just blaming the way it was written.
So
Yeah.
wasn't Deborah Winger doesn't Deborah Winger kind of the Val Kilmer behind the scenes on movie sets, like kind of hard to work with?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. I think she was early in her career and stuff.
Mm.
Charlie Creekmore also mentioned we were talking about Tom Skerritt being the way that he is. Like Sam Elliott, same kind of category. Um, Sam Elliott's had a real nice
Yeah.
renaissance in his career the last 10 years too. Like he's really coming back.
Well, someone made a comment to me of watching Landman recently and said that he was looking older, and I'm like, dude, he's always look old.
Yeah.
I mean, Sam Elliott has looked the same age for the last 40 years.
So yeah, Gene Hackman was the same too. Gene Hackman looked 50 years old from
Mm-hmm.
1970 until, his last film that he ever did. Like he looked the
I
same.
mean, wasn't like Wilfred Brimley only like 42 years old when he shot Cocoon? I mean, come on.
Yeah. It's oh God, man, it's funny going back and looking at ages of actors and stuff. Like the cast of Cheers when Cheers started too. Like some of those guys were in their early
Yeah.
30s and stuff, and I'm like, God bless. Um, all right. So marching on here. So moving on from characters and everything. Wanted to bring up just some kind of deeper dive questions and everything, and then we'll kind of get into nitpicks and then favorite scenes, and that'll kind of wrap us up and everything. But we've touched on a couple of these that I had listed, right? We talked about the romance subplot and everything like that. Um, and who's the better pilot, Maverick or Iceman? I think we all agreed that it was Iceman and everything. Um, but do you think, I'm interested to keep like just kind of objectively, like, do you think is Maverick as reckless as he puts off, or do you think he actually is like an elite fire pilot? Or do you think he's just a cowboy?
I mean, I think he's both, right? I mean, he's technically proficient. I mean, if we're just going to stick to the movie, Tom Skerritt's character and Jester and stuff, they say this kid can really fly. So I mean, so I think he's both. I think, I mean, he's super talented, but he was also reckless in doing things that they probably shouldn't have done. But does that make you more elite? I don't know. I guess he's both. I mean, I don't know.
It's kind of how to say it. Well, he's got a high floor but a low ceiling. I think when you look at someone like Iceman, who plays by the book, is the straight card, that's one thing. But when you look at, it's easy to look at the quote unquote reckless person, driver, whatever, flyer, in the sense of like, well, you need someone to take that shot that the straight man won't do. You know what I mean? Like someone's got to push the boundary, and that seems to always be the underdog, or in this case, Maverick. Does that make him a better pilot? No. But does he have the guts to do what the safe flyer doesn't want to do, or can't do, or won't try to do? Yes. So does that make him better? No. But maybe I think I'm just kind of going around with the answer. But so the short answer is Iceman is yes, the better pilot. Is Maverick better because he's reckless? No. But you could say someone who's reckless takes more chances. Mm-hmm. And that's a big gamble with a $1 billion plane. But yeah.
But then let's go back to Goose's death that he gets cleared of and stuff like that, but it was due to a jet wash. Was it because he was pushing up on Iceman and all that? Because the jet wash was not like a plane that came out of nowhere. He's tailing Iceman, and just before that happens, he's gonna go around him to take the shot. Iceman peels off, and they get the jet wash. But was Maverick reckless in being a wingman and where he was in position? I think Tom Cruise is at fault.
Oh, wow. Shots fired.
I never got the jet wash thing. Like, I understand they need a reason. So but that's a good point. That is a good point. Had Maverick not flown there, that never would have happened. So his recklessness is ultimately what got Goose killed.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, they do make a quick blurb about something faulty engine wise, and I can't quite get what they nail it, but they probably should have just went with some sort of plane malfunction that he couldn't get control and Goose dies. But to me, that scene was always like Maverick was reckless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was him going for it and everything. We've mentioned a few along the way and everything, but I wanted to see if there were any nitpicks that we hadn't really touched on at all.
I think I got a good one. What's with Jester going below the hard deck on purpose so Maverick couldn't take him out? Did I miss something, or was that
totally solid?
Was I not seeing that part? I was like, well, he's like, all right, well, I'm going to go below the hard deck, and they chased him. And I know afterwards he's like, we put those hard decks for a reason so you can't chase him. I was like, well, I kind of thought Jester got off on that one. Like, he got out of that one clean, and no one really ragged on him. But even at the end, he's like, well, he got you, didn't he? He was like, yeah. So he still, even though you're trying to get out of it, he still got you. But that was always my kind of like, Jester just kind of, no one seemed to bring up how Jester
quits. Yeah. He quits like in the middle of the exercise.
Yeah.
I feel like that too. He was totally just giving up or trying to get away, like running away scared kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
So any other nitpicks, Fred?
No, I mean, I think just the ones we brought up. I thought that 2-week timeline was kind of annoyingly accelerated. I would have been happier if he disappeared for 3 months, was a drunk, and then came back, to the next season of Top Gun School or something. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot to pick apart in the movie. I thought the only other nitpick I have is that when he does bring back uh when Iceman's plane was hit and they come back and they do the flyby, Iceman's plane would land. They both kind of go by the flyby of the tower, and Iceman's, his plane's already shot, it's smoking at one point, and then they both kind of do this little flyby together, and it's like, no, Iceman's plane would have been on the deck. Tom Cruise can still do the flyby, but I always thought that was strange.
Yeah. My big nitpick of the film too is and we've talked about a lot of them, but it's how the film ends. They make a point. They make a point to say that the winner has an option of coming back as an instructor.
Yes.
He doesn't win. He doesn't win, and he does one mission, and then he's all of a sudden a Top Gun instructor. Like, fast forward, we know the story, what happens in Top Gun Maverick, blah blah blah. But it doesn't matter at that point. For 30 plus years, we watched this film 1,000 times, and like, he goes and flies one mission, and now he's an instructor. Like, come on.
Well, yeah, that's true. But they did kind of play it off in the locker room afterwards. Like, hey, wow, even those who are saying it didn't happen. So what do you want to do? They said they're giving you choice of roles. I remember they kind of gave him the option, but you're right.
Yeah.
As the Top Gun winner, at the beginning they said the winner of Top Gun could be an instructor. So that is interesting. Yeah, that's a good point.
I think you're right. They gave Stinger the line to give him so that he could do that. So they could do that. But it never sat well with me.
And also, I kind of thought, do you think maybe that was on purpose to leave the door open for Top Gun 2 a few years later? Versus, Top Gun Maverick, but like, I'm sure they wanted to do a sequel if it was successful. And maybe that was that little door they can open and say, hey.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a point where somebody calls a bogey at 3:00, but then they're looking left out of the plane, which was weird.
Yeah.
And by the way, they misuse bogey all the time because bogeys are only unidentified aircrafts. They know what they are. Right. I think they're bandits or something at that point, but they're not bogeys. Bogeys are unidentified, and they're saying bogey at whatever all day long. And that I believe, and maybe somebody can tell us that knows more about that than me, but I believe that's not. I thought they were unidentified.
Yeah. So an interesting correlation later of like just learning about different films and stuff. And I'd really like to, I've never met a pilot, and I've always wanted to ask this. So, obviously in this film they lock him up and they announce fire, and that's about it. And sometimes I don't even know if they do that. They just lock up and then they fire the missile. But then, fast forward, 10 years to another film of Sean and I's youth, and we watched Independence Day and fucking loved Will Smith flying around and stuff. And it was Eagle 1 Box 2 announcing like the actual position of the missile that they were firing and stuff. And I don't know how realistic that is, or maybe unrealistic the Top Gun part is. So like, I've always wanted to ask like if that is a real thing. So if anyone,
I always assumed it was, because I'm assuming that they had somebody technical on set that could give them the terminology.
Yeah.
Which also makes me believe I'm wrong about the bogey thing, because I'm like, how would that get through? I mean,
Right. Bogey's fun to say too. That might just have been.
It's absolutely.
Could have been just easy to say. So that leads us into the last segment of the evening, guys. And I once again, I just want to say, listen, this was a fantastic conversation. Fucking love talking films, Fred, especially with you. Like, you fellow cinephile, and Sean, we have a long history of film watching together, and
since you were born.
Yeah. So most of our conversations, I think, are about 98% movie quotes, just back and forth. And the world needs plenty of bartenders. But
2 weeks.
2 weeks with pay. But I really enjoyed this, guys, and thank you so much for hopping on and celebrating 40 years of a film that I can't get enough of, even at 42 years old, and I still absolutely love it, and would go back and watch it in a heartbeat and everything. But Our Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust curveball segment is brought to you by none other than Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust. Fastballs or curveballs, it doesn't matter. Since the company's inception, Steve Sock has been knocking them out of the park. Count them up, 11 consecutive years. The company's top in Half Wheel's top three consensus. Congratulations to our good friend, Mr. Steve Saka. This isn't really a curveball, but I wanted like how do we not bring up Top Gun Maverick and the comparison of the two films and everything and how it compares. You know, Sean, you had a great lead in with like Top Gun 2 kind of open, you know, with the way the movie ended, there was like this open door, and there was this open door for literally 30
Mhm.
plus years, almost 40 years that it took. And I know Tom Cruise is trying to make it for a long time and everything, but how did it not get made? Like how did it take so long? Any thoughts?
Well, who knows what the legal, who owned the rights, this and that. If we take that out of it, maybe a good script. I don't know, because it would have made sense. Like yeah, like 2 years later or what, it would make sense. Especially now, if it came out in 2016, yeah, they would have had a sequel the next year.
Right.
But I don't,
But
I
think
don't
about the
know.
aliens, the
No,
Terminators,
no,
like there
great,
was like
great point. That's why I said that there had to been, but also it could have something like maybe like I didn't look too, I haven't looked too far into it. How much leeway was the United States military giving Bruckheimer and Don Simpson to make their movie and all that? You know, like
yeah,
maybe the government didn't want to get involved with it anymore. I don't know.
that's true.
But
That's true.
but really, I mean, it could have been Maverick goes back to Fighter Town and raises the next Maverick Junior. You know, it could have been some. It could have easily been something like that.
Yeah,
Bring
for
bring
sure.
bring back Tom Skerritt for a cameo. You know, yeah, it could have been something, but I don't know why.
Yeah, for sure. It was interesting, but um, so Fred? Did you see Top Gun Maverick in the theaters as well?
No, I watched it at home. I did not
Okay,
catch it in the theater.
I saw it in the theater. Sean, did you see it in the theater? Top Gun
No,
Maverick?
I watched it at home.
Okay. An unbelievable theater experience. I was hoping to get your thoughts on the comparison of the two, Fred, since you saw both in the theater.
Even from home, I mean, I got a decent sound system, all the other stuff. Even from home, the fact that they quadrupled the number of cockpit cameras and everything else was amazing. I mean, it was even more intense, more feeling like you were in the cockpit with them. Um, I was, you know, you're always worried about a movie. You're less worried about a sequel immediate than you are 30 years later, 40 years later, I think, in a lot of ways. And there were a lot of cliches and traps they could have fallen in Maverick that I thought they didn't. I thought, they recognize the age, they recognize the time. You know, it's the whole "where are they now" type thing. And I thought they did a really good job remaking it. So whether it was scripts or movie rights or whatever that made it marinate a little bit longer to come back to a better script or whatever it may have been, I thought it was a great revisit to what the original franchise was. Well, can you call it a franchise? What's the single film? Probably not.
Yeah, yeah, probably not. You said that you felt like Top Gun Maverick held could stand on its own.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, I think so
absolutely.
too. Yeah, I mean, I look at it as a continuation just because I have that luxury. But I think if you watch it, it's an incredible film. And
I think you wouldn't get the throwbacks, you wouldn't get the stuff, but they didn't bring back a Kelly McGillis. They had a new person. They had him in a different role. So had you not, you wouldn't get how dead on Rooster was to being and looking like Goose's kid. I mean, you just wouldn't appreciate any of that. So I wonder how much of the third is nostalgia and revisiting the thought. Like, I'd be curious, somebody that just saw it that didn't have that institutional memory of the characters and everything, what they would think of it. But I believe it held its own for what it
yeah,
was.
yeah, my 10-year-old son saw Top Gun Maverick before he saw Top Gun, and I mean, he absolutely loved it. And it's because there's like an action scene. There are
Yeah.
so few breaks in between flying scenes and stuff. Like they keep you in the air for most of
Yeah.
it, and it's pulse pounding. It's believable. It as believable as the original Top Gun is. Like Top Gun Maverick is so much more believable. Like the the deep, like they're mic'd up underneath those masks. Like you can hear the breathing, the mixed with the
Mm-hmm.
oxygen and the flow of everything and stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
the stress and strain that it puts on the body, the G-force and stuff. It's so
Yeah.
intense and it's unbelievably well done. Um, I've given extremely high praise to Top Gun Maverick. I think it's the the best film that I've seen in the last decade. Like just
Wow.
top to bottom.
Wow. Okay.
Everything from aesthetic to soundtrack to script, everything. Like I think it's just incredibly well made. I was um I was really disappointed that the Academy didn't really recognize it for a lot more than it was worth. But like to your point about the way that the Academy doesn't recognize films like that anyway, normally it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kind of par for the course and everything. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but the uh, the subtle throwback of bringing the love interest in, Penny Benjamin, who's a just kind of a throwaway line in the original is probably one of my favorite my favorite nostalgia points of
Yeah.
it. Um, More so than the Great Balls of Fire of Miles Teller playing Great Balls of Fire. Because there's zero chance that kids of that generation actually know every word to that song. Absolutely. It's like,
Well, I mean, he's his kid, right? I mean, he knew that. He knew that. But I thought that casting was dead on. I thought the
yeah,
casting of Brewster was like, if Anthony Edwards had a kid, and like you're almost literally Googling going, is this really his kid? I mean, just the mannerisms, the way he looked, the way, the piano, everything. I thought that was, every once in a while you get there and you're like, yep, that would be the kid. It's like,
yeah,
Last Crusade, uh, Indiana Jones's father in perfect casting, you're like, oh, that's exactly what his dad would be like, So yeah, I mean, I thought they did a really good job. And I think the storyline held up. I think that the romantic relationship was an adult relationship that made sense at that age range. It wasn't weird. It all
yeah,
made sense. So yeah, I thought it was a good script.
yeah. I thought it was really great. The
And the moment in Maverick when it's all scrubbed and nobody can do it, and all of a sudden they're like, "What's this plane doing out here?" And Maverick was making that run to prove that run could be done in that amount of time and everything was just an awesome scene. I mean, it
yes,
was you never are you rooting for a guy that's single flying through the canyons as much as you are at that very moment.
yeah. Like even Hangman at the end of that scene is like boom, like yeah,
Yeah.
like there's for a guy who's supposed to be cocky as all get out, and he's like the anti Iceman. He is kind of he's more villainous. He's
Right. Yeah.
he's more conniving. He's a step up from the Iceman character. Even he has he's even in awe to a certain extent of it,
Yeah.
which is which is really great. I really appreciated that. Sean, I wanted to get your thoughts. I know you had to step away for a second. Your thoughts
Oh,
on
sorry.
overall thoughts on Top Gun Maverick.
I, you know, I think I'm in the rare minority who was not totally blown away by it.
Oh
Um,
wow. Okay. Hot
but I
take.
admit, because well,
It's
and I
okay,
give
man. You know.
no, because I have to do this every time because people look like they're getting ready to smack me when I tell them this, and it's like, whoa, calm down, soldier. I mean, and I think I know Tom got most of the credit. Tom Cruise, he does get a lot of credit for like pushing to have the movie released in theaters post COVID to get people back in the movie theaters.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. That was
Um,
big.
but I was one of those guys who's like, man, I have a pretty nice TV in my living room, and I don't have to go sit shoulder to shoulder with the theater, so I'll watch movies here. So I didn't see Maverick right away. But that whole time, people were just telling me including you, Bear, you were telling me how amazing it was. It was the greatest movie of the year. It was just as, so everyone was kind of propping up how amazing Maverick
Yeah,
was.
I guess I oversold
So,
it to you.
and
Yeah. That's
when I
fair.
actually saw, and again, it's not a bad, I'm not saying it sucked. I'm not saying I didn't like it. I mean, I liked it, but I just wasn't totally like floored. But I think a lot of it also is guilty as charged. The original one was there's so much nostalgia for me with the original that I was one of those who's like, I was going in kind of, I don't want to say hesitant, but kind of like, well, all right, you got to prove me right kind of attitude.
Yeah. That's fair.
But it was. But saying that, I was still kind of impressed, and for me, it did pick up in the end when they actually got going. Like I don't say got going, but the final battle when the
Yeah.
stakes
Hmm.
started going up. That's okay. That's all right. Now I'm starting to. That's when I started like getting into it. Um, but no,
I,
yeah, it was still a good movie. I just wasn't totally overwhelmed by it, by everyone else seemed to be.
um, I did some research on this. They absolutely chose the call signs for the characters in the first film. In Top Gun Maverick, the characters actually got to choose their own call signs. So
Mm.
so Miles Teller actually picked Rooster.
Hmm.
Um and like Fanboy, Payback, all of them were they chose their own, which is pretty cool. I love the Hangman name um God, what's his name? Lewis Pullman, um Bill Pullman's kid who plays Bob.
Oh
Like
wow, that's Bill Pullman's kid.
literally went to the he's like, oh, what if one of us, he's like, I'm kind of like an odd duck, right? Like that's the whole script. Like that part of the script is like was original. He's like, I'm kind of an odd duck. Why don't I just have like a plain ordinary name like Bob? And they're like, that's fucking brilliant. Absolutely. And
So, were all the ones in the first movie, were they all based on real people? Because I know Maverick was based on Duke Cunningham, who
right.
was a Vietnam ace. Were all of them based on real people in the first movie?
A lot, yeah, there was a lot of that. I did a lot of like I said in my research, there was a lot of based on real people.
Okay.
Um Viper was and Pete Pettigrew, who the technical advisor on the film, who was the real life Viper, said that Tom, to our point of what we are talking about, that Tom Skerritt was incredibly authentic to his role, and how his predecessor taught him to run the school and everything, so that he said he reminded him a lot of his predecessor, which I read
Hmm.
a little bit about
Hmm.
that, um, which was interesting. So I thought that was pretty cool. And um, but yeah, I thought it was really cool that those names were very specific, like the ironic Jester for Ironside, Maverick
Hmm.
for the obviousness of his obnoxious and the way that he flew, Iceman, all very Goose is a very again it's funny, right? It's a very affable name. He was a very affable character. Obviously, he's well loved by everybody. Mother Goose, as they chimed in a
Yeah.
couple of times,
Yeah.
he had that kind of persona and stuff. So it was they were written specific and they were assigned specific, and then but it was cool that they let the characters in the second one kind of pick their own and everything.
That's
So
wild because you're not allowed to pick your own name in real
yeah,
life.
in real life, yeah, that's true. It's true. But so just curious. Well, we know Sean's take. Sean's in the original camp. Fred, which film do you like better? Maverick or
Oh, the original. I
the
like the
original?
original. I mean, I like Maverick for a hey, where are they now? Let's revisit and see where they are now type thing. But yeah, I think I like the original better.
I can't love Maverick without the original because the nostalgia is so powerful for me. But I'm crazy, man. I like Top Gun Maverick better.
I mean, you
I
said it was the
I
best movie you saw in the last 10 years, so I
years.
already
Yeah,
questioned some of
yeah.
that to begin with, but you know.
um, I think it's just incredible. Um, we can have that conversation later though, Fred. It's fine.
That's
Uh,
a PCA in 2 weeks or 3 weeks,
sounds
whatever it is.
sounds good. We'll do it.
And I'm going to mail you a list of movies that came out in the last 10 years that you need to make sure you've already watched that are better than Top Gun Maverick. But okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm looking forward to it. Sounds good. I'll do a I'll do a crash course and get through all of them as much as possible so I can have some commentary. Hey, listen, I reread Heart of Darkness for Terrence Riley. I'll watch movies for you, Fred. That doesn't that's not a tall order or a big ask on it by any stretch of the imagination. Prove me wrong, and I'm happy to say I'm wrong if that's the case. So, uh, guys, really appreciate it. We broke a lot of from normal protocol from from our show. But I do want to thank our normal sponsors that are such pivotal partners as part of the show. Couple of segments that we didn't have tonight with Asylum, our Asylum, Pestana, our Artista. We really appreciate those sponsors who put together a great partnership with the ELOSOFUMARTAKES podcast. So we didn't really have those segments tonight. Just didn't really fit in with the outline and everything. But we can't do the show without them. But wanted to a special shout out to those people and everything. We're just really looking forward to doing more of these movie podcasts. I really, we hadn't done one in a while. Fred, you've been on a couple, and Sean, man, this was the perfect film for you to join on, and thank you so much, man. I know it's extra late for Fred, and this is past your bedtime too, Sean. So I really appreciate you guys staying up late with us as always, and appreciate our audience for staying up late with us as always too. So do appreciate
Absolutely
that. So
thank you very much.
Thanks for that. As Fred mentioned, we got PCA coming up in a few weeks, so we're all marching towards that. Got some great shows leading up to that great event. And we'll be making announcements on those here in the coming weeks, and so definitely stay tuned for all of that. If you are listening to us here, if you're watching here on Facebook Live, like we broadcast nearly every Sunday night at 9:30 Central, 10:30 Eastern, or if you check out our YouTube channel later, our video broadcast is courtesy of our good friends at Foundation Cigars. Nick Melillo began his career in the cigar industry at the age of 18, working in a cigar shop, the Calabash Shop, in his home state of Connecticut. He went on to work for a well-known company, Drew Estate, where he developed some of the most popular blends. In 2015, he started Foundation Cigar Company to create unique and flavorful cigars that would appeal from everyone, from the novice to the most experienced smoker. If you are listening to us on podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that be Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts, including iHeartRadio, our podcast and audio broadcast is courtesy of our good friends, Gran Habano Cigars. Honest, compassionate, great cigars. Be sure you download, subscribe, and review today. We really do appreciate those reviews. 5 stars are always appreciated. But listen, if you're going to give us a 1-star review, please be constructive. Leave us some commentary. We want to get better at this. And when I say I want to get better at this. So the guy who told me that my audio levels suck, hopefully you're still listening and hopefully you can hear me now. But to the guy who left me a 1-star review and left it blank, as I say to you every week, fuck you. I've got nothing for you, man. Can't help you. So appreciate all the likes, shares, and comments. Keep them coming, everybody. Thanks for everyone who tuned in tonight. As always, I'm Barry Duplessis, live from the Alec Bradley Lone Star Studio of Azle, Texas. He's Fred Rewey, he's Shawn Flores, and guess what, everybody? We'll see you next time.